Achyuth, Ashwin, welcome to Round Game Strong.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pumped to have you guys. And it's wild that I was watching you both on stage with your two colleagues who aren't here today, Pali and Pai. Watching you perform and now sitting in front of you is just wild. So welcome. Also, welcome to London.
Thank you.
Almost feels like second home.
Oh, does it yet? Are you used to this?
Or
weird
third
weather?
home, maybe Bangalore second home. But we've been here, I mean, it's the
Second
fourth.
rental home because it's too expensive. otherwise.
Yeah, trust me, I feel the pain. It's been years now. So could we start with maybe a little introduction, because I haven't actually introduced you guys.
Sure.
So Ashwin, do you want to go?
Yeah, my name is Ashwin. I play for a band called When Chai Met Toes. I sing for the band and I play a little bit of acoustic guitar.
Achyuth, I play banjo and keys for the same band. And two people who aren't here are Pali, who plays keyboards. He's also the producer. And Pai plays drums.
Stylish.
I have a little memory of him on stage because I was actually standing closer to where he was sitting. And man was in a different world.
Yeah.
When he was playing. Like it was actually amazing because I kept looking over at him because he was the closest band member near me. And I was just like, he's loving it.
Yeah.
And then at one point you kind of went up and were like vibing with him. And yeah, I really liked the interaction that you guys were having on stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's come to a point where, like, whatever happens on stage, we just laugh at each other and we fall on 4 feet.
Yeah, it's
So,
us four against the world when we are on stage. It was like, just do what we're doing and just laugh. That's about it.
Yeah.
Just wing it, honestly. There's nothing more you can do.
No,
yeah.
Do things go wrong on stage?
101%.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Like a lot of times in the sense, I'm pretty sure half the time people don't realize it. Half the time people realize it. But we realize it every time we go wrong. And our sound engineer realizes it the most.
Yeah.
And he has a small mic that he talks to us on our headphones. He would tell each of us what went wrong while we are on stage. So we just laugh at that and just leave it and then they go by it. Yeah.
Oh, are there ever times where you feel like, okay, yeah, that was really not good and we need to,
All the
reevaluate
time.
the next
all
time?
the time. Like, it's always like you're questioning what you do every second day. Because we're so passionate about it, like anything that could be better. Even yesterday we were, talking amongst ourselves that, we could have, done the merch better this time. We could have printed more t-shirts because we ran out of, yellow paper daisy t-shirts this time. So it happens all the time. I mean, there's always scope for improvement in whatever you do. But that being said, I mean, we do credit ourselves for like taking the step to step out of our country and do international shows. So I think this year it's been, we did Australia, we did Europe, and now it's UK and we're doing US after this. So
Wow.
So it's you reflect back and these are dreams that you had when you were, 15, 16 and wanting to do music. And to be at this point and actually realize those dreams, it's a different feeling.
Was it a legitimate dream that you had, Achyuth, being on stage in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, I was able to actually realize it earlier with Raghu Dikshit.
You're too cool for us.
But then to do it...
But isn't it different playing for your own?
Exactly. So, I mean, the stages I was able to play then, but then it's different when you do it with your own music and music that you've written, So yeah, it is a dream come true.
What about for you, Ashwin?
101%. I mean, I don't know, I kind of missed out on one point that I'd like to put out. Coming from Kerala especially, I mean, we're not from Bombay or Delhi or, it's one of the southernmost states in the country. And a lot of things did not work out for us in the beginning. And it was a hustle. Like, we wanted to get where we are right now and try doing our music and put it out to people. I didn't know how to get to people, didn't know where we're going to put the music out or how people will listen to the music. We had no idea about all of these things when we started the band. And to sit here with you in London, probably after doing our gig in London, after 8.5 years of it, it is definitely a dream come true. And there's more to do. There's so many other things that we want to do and there are stages that we want to play which are part of our dreams. Hopefully, one day. Yeah.
Does it ever feel like you've barely just scratched the surface?
Yeah. Which is a dot in the whole music scene, I feel. It's so much more to do.
Maybe a slightly bigger dot.
Like
So
a
slight.
bindi now.
Maybe one more pixel.
Yeah.
I really want to touch on this whole idea of like the small like things, because you obviously, I mean, you know, you have a song about it, but I think beyond that, that is everything that you as a band embody, is looking at kind of little moments and things that pass us by in, you know, a fraction of a second. And I think living in a time right now where everyone is so distracted by everything and attention spans are tiny, what does it mean to you to bring back that, you know, just like the focus on like the mundane? Maybe Achyuth?
For me, you know, a lot of it stems from our past experiences, you know, experiences that we have growing up. So we relate a lot to, you know, the experiences that we have when we write our music. And sometimes it's those little things that you sort of reflect on, you go back to, and which bring you joy. And like you put it, it's a perfect embodiment of the four of us, you know. Our internal jokes, everything, it revolves around those little things that we, you know, find amusing or fun, or, you know, which sparks a friendship between all of us. So ultimately, yeah, like life is about those little moments that, you know, that pass by, but then those make your days and months and years slightly better. So we were just talking about like small things, like, I don't know, you want to elaborate?
I can add, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to add, I mean, this also comes from where we are from and the family that is around us, because they taught us to like those little moments. And probably his mom and dad, same, like his mom and dad is so happy with those little things that, you know, like they achieve in their life with their company and with their stuff. Same with my mom and dad. My mom loves reading. If she gets an Agatha Christie book, she's just as happy sold as ever. So I think it's family instilled it on us, and then it just grew on us, because definitely, like I said, again, coming back from Kerala and going abroad and doing these shows, these are things that we only imagined when we were like young, and to do that feels really, really good. And I think definitely, and all four of us relate to it because we're all from the same scene and same kind of background and same kind of place. And because of that, I think that's one reason the band is still floating and doing things and just carrying on with those little moments, I feel.
I feel like you're being quite humble when you say that it's just sort of staying afloat, because I feel like you guys have grown a lot over the last, you know, you've been running for 8 years, is that right?
Yeah.
Running
9 years. Is it weird? Like, you know, when you're on stage in London and you're just surrounded by people screaming for you, and like, I don't know, to me, the vibe I'm getting from you guys is you're just pretty chill, and you're just, you know, you want to create good music and spread good vibes, and to go from that to like having people literally like fawning over you. Does that happen? I don't know. I'm assuming. Do people fawn? I have a story of this, but you start.
I think all four of us are pretty chill comparatively while writing music, but all four of us are anxious, like behind our heads, thinking that what we're going to do, or like, are people going to like the music that we're going to create now? Because people definitely loved us like when we made this. So there's definitely the anxiety. There's definitely that, let's say, a strange feeling of, okay, we didn't know the song would go, but the song went well. And are we going to create a song like this, or are we going to write something different? Is it, like, you know, am I feeling the same things that I'm feeling like 5 years ago, or would people not relate to what I'm feeling right now? So there's so many things that goes through our head when we are like back at home and just thinking about it. But when we're on stage, I think all four of us are pretty chill because we're just playing our hearts out. And all four of us are, more than anything, more than studio musicians, I think all four of us are live musicians, and we thrive on playing live music. And that's one reason that, like I said, the band is still afloat.
And, you know, it's not been an overnight journey for us. It's been like one step after the other. So I think what has been even more special is that the fan base has sort of grown with us. So these are people who have seen us in our first weekender in 2016. Yeah. And those people are coming back. So they have sort of, you know, they saw us when they were in their like school or college, and now they have, you know, migrated abroad, and now they're watching us in London and Berlin, and they have those memories to tell us. So it's sort of this community who has sort of grown with us over the years. And I think that way the community is actually very tight knit, because a lot of them associate our songs to very strong emotions. It's helped them in various parts, various difficult phases of their lives. So that gives a lot more meaning to, I guess, what we do, because nowadays you also see a lot of people becoming overnight sensations with one hit that goes viral on Instagram. We definitely appreciate the music, and it's not saying that that's bad in any way.
Yeah.
It's just that it's
I wanted to
different.
put that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just two different things, because for us this carries a lot more meaning.
Yeah.
And it's it's been one step after the other, so it's been a gradual journey, but it's been fulfilling, I think.
So it feels like it's like kind of like a community feeling all around you, and it's not very much this thing of you just came out of nowhere and you were suddenly really famous or like really well known and everyone was like, oh my
exactly.
God. Yeah, I felt that in your concert actually, because it was really weird, because you weren't within reach in a weird, creepy way, but you seemed very much part of the crowd. Like, you were very approachable in that sense. And I really liked that, because I went with my friend, and both of us are kind of, I guess, new to listening to this genre of music. I've not grown up with it. And this is like, yeah, I'll be completely honest, it's Indie India on Spotify, which is how the Diaspora Kids find you guys, have found you guys. And we'll talk about like the whole like term indie and like the genre in a second. But I think both my friend and I were just like, it just felt like a hug, and it was really cute we literally ran out, bought the merch. We're like, I'm sold. So yeah, it was very, very nice to see that, because I think the audience feels that as well.
One point I'd like to add: we're not famous for our faces; we're famous for our music.
Yeah.
So that kind of really puts it out there. Like, I don't know. I just feel that's really great.
I love that.
Yeah, it's for me, when I go home, I can go out and eat whatever restaurant I want, like just go out. But people will realize it as after a point of time.
Yeah.
But people just come for the music. And we get to give them the best experience that they can. And I think we love that. And that's why probably it feels like a hug also, I think.
Yeah, because actually your branding, your faces aren't on there on Spotify. I didn't know what you looked like until I probably was booking the
It's
concert.
been a conscious decision to have more of us on the cover.
Now, after a point of time, I think you need to put that out there also.
Yeah.
Because people need to realize, or people need to see us and then go listen to our music also. I think that's one reason that we're trying to put our faces, but people relate to our music more than our faces.
I had a very similar thing with running this, because the whole fact that it's a podcast, I like being behind the scenes, and then the whole scene changed and suddenly it's about being on YouTube and all of this stuff. And like, the advice I always got was your face needs to be on there. And I was like, the whole reason I did it was because my face doesn't need to be on. And I think times are changing in that sense, because we're all a lot more like we were talking about earlier, like visual and like short attention span. We need to know who we're listening to so that we can relate. And
ultimately it'll be like 20 seconds that they listen to of the 1 hour that we talk. So
yeah. Nah,
I think one line.
The one line that just gets stuck with everybody. Yeah. I want to take it a step back, and I want to chat about like growing up, because obviously you guys grew up in like southern India, and I want to learn more about how different was that to life now as an adult. You're traveling, you're all over the place. You're still living there, right? Or have you guys moved?
No, moved like southern India itself, probably him to Bangalore, and I've also in Bangalore. Growing up in Kerala, I feel in one way is toxic, and at the same time,
never heard that.
No, I'm talking about like religious beliefs and cultural beliefs that's instilled on you, and how you should be growing up and how you should be, doing your things, because of my mom and dad is probably the reason why I am here, and they did not push me to do whatever like a regular kid would do. Let's say, I don't know if that is the regular thing a kid would do, but like going to school or pass out of school, go for engineering, do that, like in terms of education and things like that, right? And I've like from school, I was a kid who was not allowed to be part of the music group. Yeah. And that's probably the reason why I'm in front of the mic as well. I keep telling that to Achyuth and everybody around. Back in school days, I was never part of the music group, and my music teacher never let me in or like do anything as such. Even if there was like a group song, I would be the last member in the group song because I wanted to be there, not because my music teacher wanted to be there, wanted me there. So yeah, and it was a pretty tough life. And that's when I joined college, and a bunch of my friends, close friends, also joined college. One is a drummer, one is a violin player. So yeah, they wanted to start a band, and they had somebody else planned for vocalist, and he did not turn up. And that's when I got to be a vocalist, and I had to learn how to scream and growl because I never learned metal or like never heard of metal bands before. They made me listen to metal bands, and that's when I realized there's this thing or culture called bands. Like I was always into like light music or classical music and learned Carnatic music because my mom and dad like put me in classes. And that's when I learned how to be part of a group and how a band functions. And from that point is when I started to understand this is what the thing is. And leaving all the culture behind, a lot like Carnatic music behind, I went with the whole band culture.
Like metal.
Yeah, like hardcore.
Like you can't even have an in between. There was like one or the other.
No, it was just hardcore metal because metal was a thing back in Kerala at one point of time. Like college used to have...
Even both of our other band members, Pai and Pali, they both were also part of metal bands. So they sort of knew each other in the metal
metal scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So yeah, we used to do a lot of metalcore, death metal.
Death metal even.
Yeah. Because see, that's the time when I was in college is the time when P2P softwares were a thing.
Yeah.
And we could download music from different parts of the world.
And you'd be downloading Slipknot.
Yeah, Slipknot, Sepultura, Slayer, I don't know, went to Periphery, depends on like Bullet for My Valentine, things like that.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to understand that I could do some things. I think same with Pali and Pai. Pai did not start drumming until he was 20 years old.
Yeah.
That's the same drummer that you were talking about, like, who's in his own, like, you know.
He's in transcendent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it was more of us doing something completely different from the other kids. And our parents had to hear a lot of things from, like, relatives, let's say, people around them, people who work with them, probably our grandparents. Like, you know, all of them would just say, why are you leaving them doing that? If they are in a band, they're doing drugs. If they're in a band, they're probably
getting tattoos,
drinking alcohol, they're getting tattoos. Their life is going to get destroyed. They won't be working. You'll have to take care of them. And I think all of our parents kind of understood this is what we wanted to do, and because we were very passionate about it. And I think we just found each other. Like, it's in a way lucky as well, because Achyuth ended up from Bali in a place in Fort Kochi where I was working as an artist manager. Otherwise, we wouldn't have met. And the same time, when I was in the US, a friend of mine introduced Pali to us, saying, you know, there's a keyboard player if you guys want to get in touch. And that's how that happened. So
yeah, one of my friends when I was in music college introduced me to Pai, who who messaged us saying, if you ever need a drummer, then actually he wasn't able to do like our first TV performance that we did because he was having exams or something. But then it eventually worked out.
No, I mean, growing up was a completely different thing compared to like a known city in India, let's say.
Yeah.
Because obviously schooling becomes important and you don't know what you're going to do after that. And like going abroad and studying wasn't, like, not abroad, let's say even in Bangalore, to go and study was a task from our end to convince parents or convince our relatives or convince like the whole society to tell them that, I'm going because everybody is involved in your like the decision that you are trying to make. And I think, like I said in the beginning itself, those small little things that our family instilled in us is probably the reason why we are still doing what we'd love to do. And going up was hard. Making a band was even harder. Making music is even harder, I feel. But we're doing what we love. So, has it ever gotten any easier? No.
It's only gotten harder.
Yeah.
In what way?
You sort of, okay, now, I mean, back in the day, it was like, everything flowed easier. You weren't thinking too much about, how things will be received, or you're just, creating just for the fun of it, which we sometimes, we still do, but then there are thoughts behind which sometimes restricts our creativity or the kind of music that we want to do, but
yeah, like
not to
there's
a
different
huge extent. Yeah,
constraints.
because there are like other players involved. There's expectations.
I think not just that, just adding a point there, I feel with times changing, like we started releasing music even before Spotify came to India. So there was a time when Spotify came, then we released music through Spotify. Now people are going to festivals through TikTok and Instagram. So with times changing, there's also that liability on us to change according to time, which adds more pressure. And like, now let's say 3 minutes was what songs used to be.
Now it's a minute and a half.
Minute and a half.
Yeah.
To tell a story in a minute and a half is something we're also might be struggling to do. So yeah, with times changing, there is that constraint that we put on ourselves.
But we do try to keep ahead of the time, and like we try to listen to music that's what people are listening to now, and we are open to changing. Like it's not like we are fixated on a sound and this is only what we will do. We do, our tastes change, so it's a constant process of like evolution.
I was going to say, you said a minute and a half, but I would say like 10 seconds, 30 seconds, like the things that go viral, right? I think of certain artists that have like blown up on TikTok, and I'm just like, I literally only know that tiny like 10-second bit of their song. And I guess my follow-up to that is, do you keep that in mind when you're producing music? Like, we need to put this out on
not
social media,
actively, like, so all 5 of us, including Kishan, our manager, we sort of have conversations about the music that we're going to release. And I think now it's come to a point where when we create something and we, the 4 of us feel good about it, then we just go about, we know, like, say a song is finished, we know that, okay, that's it. It is in the back of our heads that, okay, maybe this song will be better on Instagram. Maybe this song is not as, commercial, but we still love the song and we want to put it out. And maybe some people will listen to it and some people will really connect to it. So it's not like we make music just for, just for the reach.
The release.
Yeah, it's more about what we feel strongly about. And we found that, like, with a lot of releases, even though those may not be the most popular of our songs, there are some people who come to our shows and say some song like Hearts Never Break, which wasn't a hit per se in terms of numbers, but a person who came to our Manchester show yesterday said that was a song that connected with him the most. So there are instances like that. So yeah, to put it like short in a way that's concise, it's in the back of our heads, but it's not something that we actively enforce upon ourselves when we write a song.
We just want to write honest songs, I feel. What we connect to, I'm pretty sure if we connect to that, people will connect to that. And I think when all 4 of us know that, like he said, like when all 4 of us know that, that is what we want to say, we just go ahead and release it. I think that's about it. Yeah, now, Kishan has the whole thing of, okay, we need to promote this. Now it's on his head, like, go for it. Yeah, but
Kishan's great. I interacted with him whilst obviously booking this podcast. And one thing I noticed was I really struggle with managers, artist managers. And I think as of this year, I've had many conversations that have been frustrating with managers. And I really like how sweet and just approachable he was. He replies within like 10 minutes of an email. Like, where did you meet him?
He was with us from day one. Kishan's actually his junior from college.
No way. Yeah. So you're basically all just buddies.
like I said, DIY. It's both of us. I still remember calling Achyuth and saying, I know this dude. I think he'll be a great manager.
That was it.
That was it.
You created his career for him. You were like, you are a manager.
No, because
Yeah.
when we were in college, he used to help us with like college festivals and
Right.
getting things done.
Yeah.
And I told him like, I think he's going to be a great manager. I think we should try him out. Before even we did our first show, Kishan became the manager of the band, and Kishan became part of the band.
Oh,
Yeah, so from
love
day one, has been with us.
I love that you said 5 of us. I was like, wait, am I missing one?
No, he's as much a part of the band as.
Just that he
Very
finds
good.
himself too good looking to come in front of camera.
Listen,
Yeah.
we'll get him on camera.
Yeah,
one
please.
day. You guys have only just started coming like
Yeah.
more.
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean,
forefront. It'll take time.
if you do a podcast with Kishan, you'll get so much insight
Yeah.
about
Really?
Yeah.
About you guys?
Yeah, that too.
No, I mean about
That too.
us,
Or just
and-
generally about life?
Generally about everything the band does, I feel.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from a different lens altogether.
Yeah, like finance, like numbers, like
Yeah.
streams, everything.
Yeah, I feel like I would need to start a whole other platform just to talk about financing creatives' lives, because it's just one of those things,
Yeah.
particularly as, you know, like the culture we're part of and the kind of resistance that we face,
Mhm.
like you were
Mhm.
talking about, right? In community, and how everyone's so invested, and like how is your kid gonna sustain themselves and
Yeah.
earn enough money?
Because I mean, for me, I mean, he mentioned his scenario growing up. For me, it was slightly different because my parents were also rebels in the society, and they sort of went against the norm to create their own architecture practice. You know, my dad doesn't even have a degree, and he
Yeah.
sort of like dropped out of college. This is an interesting story where, for his final thesis, he presented this topic called architecture for democracy, and he, while everyone did like complete like, you know, volumes of books, like 30-40 pages of thesis, he brought his thesis on a butter sheet, on like a butter sheet where you draw like architectural drawings.
Oh,
So I mean, from there, so for me, it was more like they were open to me doing anything that I wanted to do, as long as I was able to sustain financially.
right. Which is a huge
is a huge thing. And even today, like, I mean, we're doing these international shows, but ultimately what we take back home is, you know, I mean, ultimately the money that we make still is from shows in India,
When do you
Right.
have to pay your,
primarily.
when do you have to pay your credit card bill?
Okay, guys, can we talk about this? Because you've had basically sold out shows, or like near sold out shows
Yeah.
everywhere in the UK. Like, how does this add up?
No, I think we're getting compensated. I think the fact that when you cut whatever we are spending to what we're getting is when things don't match up.
Yeah.
So coming from India, let's say visa fees, travel fees, hiring a van, getting our tour manager, our sound engineer, like getting all of them here, you know, traveling with them, the rentals here, the
Living costs.
living costs, food, everything adding up doesn't come up to like probably selling out a 600 capacity when you're in London or 200 capacity when you're in Manchester.
So I mean, over the last couple of years, we've been able to break even,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and slightly make some profits because of like merch sales.
Merchandise and
Yeah. But ultimately, like when you do the Excel sheet and tally the numbers, they don't really add up. But for us also, it's also building a new audience in a new territory. So we're okay doing this in the hope that, say, next year we come back and do festivals. We do bigger venues, you know. So it's sort of like international shows for us are like starting from where we were in India like 5 years back and building a community from scratch in a new place, which is an exciting challenge because now in India it's, I mean, not bragging, but like it's easier for us. Like it's, you know, you get your fast forward flights and you get your 5-star hotels and and people, you know, turn up. We have like touch wood. We had two 500 people turn up for a Bangalore gig last year. So that way it's been good numbers for us, and we've been making decent money in India, which sort of finances what we want to do internationally.
Right.
And
It's an investment into
exactly.
your
I think, like he said, I mean, from like in India itself, the way we saw it and the way we came through is through playing live shows.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is happening here as well, because it's the third time in London and we sold out like a 650 capacity venue. And this time we saw an entirely, not entirely, let's say a 50% or 70% newer audience, than what we saw last time. So I think in a way, people are also getting to realize that this band is here. There's this band called When Chai Met Toes. I went there last time. I think you should come. And people are talking about it. That word of mouth is something that we've always depended upon.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of really works for us in terms of live shows and putting our music out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if your ethos is to think about, the tiny things in life, like the growth comes, but it comes with time. Yeah. I actually want to add to that sentiment, because I do think we're in a time right now where we're constantly told that, there's like, we need to go viral and we need to grow really quickly and, like overnight sensations and things like that. Do your fans make you feel like you need to be chasing that more? Like, do they kind of gravitate towards certain types of sound that make you want to create that viral stuff? And it goes back to what we were just talking about, but do you feel the pressure basically to try?
Oh, when
and
we
grow
see
more?
things, definitely. I mean, we would love to be in that place, where people are like, there's probably 10,000 people, 20,000 people just coming over to the shows and just singing your songs along. But when you think about how we're growing, I feel like that's also, like you said, those little things adding up to being like the sentence that I wrote recently. With every drop, it becomes an ocean. So yeah, it's mostly that for us. But definitely, we would definitely look at it and be like, for instance, we saw a video recently and we were talking about how the video went viral and how it's turning up to, that artist becoming viral and the artist getting to play venues like O2 or, Opera House in Australia, stuff like that, and playing Coachella, or just with a TikTok video playing Coachella. These are things that you dream of. When you see that, definitely there's that kind of pressure that why are we not doing that? But I think our music itself is a completely different way of how people look at it. There are probably like 50% of our fans don't want us to be overrated.
Overrated as in the sense they don't want us to like be a public sensation.
Yeah.
They just want
Yeah.
it to be their own,
Yeah.
It's
a selfish thing.
Yeah, it's
isn't
a
it?
very selfish thing. I see it in the comments. I'm like, why would you say that?
You don't want me to grow?
Help us out.
But I think part of the charm is that, isn't it? It's like being the underdog or underrated and feeling like you're approachable, which eventually with time will change. And I think your fans will adapt to that. But it's something that I also think about a lot, because I always wonder whether it's possible to be like very niche and also keep growing to fulfill your dreams. Because ultimately as creatives, like we do have slightly like wild dreams, sometimes of, playing on massive stages or having this much audience looking at our work, because ultimately like we create so that people can consume the work. But I don't know if there's an in-between. I don't know if that in-between is just a stepping stone. And then as you grow, you sort of lose that like niche.
The in-between is probably between what we do now and say Coachella.
Is that the dream? I've heard Coachella a couple of times.
It's be fun. I mean, we'd definitely love to do a lot of festivals, because obviously we've seen like bands that we've been inspired by, like playing all of these massive stages.
I think that's the next step for us to like play some big international festivals.
What bands inspire you guys?
A lot of them actually.
Coldplay is definitely.
For sure.
I love Coldplay, like their experience of their concert.
So like last year, I mean the first time that we came to the UK, it sort of worked out so we were recording an EP in London and
lost a lot of money.
and
No.
we did like 2-3 shows, and then we had a couple of days off, and like right on those days Coldplay was performing at Wembley, and we got third-party tickets and we were unsure if they would let us in, but it sort of worked out, and we had the experience of our lives watching Coldplay.
I think one of my best experiences ever is watching Coldplay live.
Yeah.
It was like I cried my heart out. Like
What song?
my girlfriend at that time, who's my wife now, my partner in crime everywhere, she basically hugged me and said, "Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry." She doesn't listen to Coldplay much, but she was like, "I know, I can feel you. Just don't cry."
I do think Coldplay is one of the best concerts I've ever been to, just because of how immersive it is. Like even if you don't like the music, like what an achievement.
True.
Right? To be an amazing concert, even if people don't like the music.
It's sort of like bucket list on people's, it's part of everyone's bucket list now to
Yeah.
attend a Coldplay concert.
It's like going to Isle of Skye, right? Like
Yeah.
you want to go to Isle of Skye, you want to watch a Coldplay concert. It's the experience, I feel.
Yeah.
People just want to, like you said, the immersive experience that you're just there. It's not about the music. It's about the people around you. It's about the love that they share. It's about the happiness. It's about the sadness. It's about the emotions that drive through the whole experience, I feel. It's great.
You talked about your partner, Ashwin, and I watched something somewhere where you said that she was the inspiration to one of, maybe more than one, but
songs,
definitely my favorite one, which is Yellow Paper Daisy, which I now have the t-shirt of. Proud owner. How, I guess, do you drive experiences in your life into your lyrics and into your music? And actually, what's the process like of creating music?
I think, like I said, we just want to write honest music, honest things that we feel about, the experiences that we've gone through. If you listen to our first EP, which is called Joy of Little Things, it's about the smaller things that we wanted to do by bringing our music out there. Like those 3 songs, A Beautiful World, Firefly, and Joy of Little Things.
It's just exuding happiness.
It's just exuding happiness. Yeah. And I think it's that point of time where we were in bad phases and we just wanted to get out of it. And that's why we wrote it, probably. And the second EP is called Believe. That's about, we knew that these songs, Firefly became a hit. We believed in ourselves and we wanted to put our music out there. Like, who are we? Who Are You is the song's name. It's talking about who we are. Believe, there's Forever, there's Coach. Yeah. So all four songs are mostly about hustling, just being on yourself.
It's more about positivity.
Positivity and, driving
positivity, belief. Yeah.
Belief and everything. And then comes a phase where like all 4 of
It's
us have
more
different
like
partners, like love.
Yeah. Heartbreak
relationships and love. And the next set of album is called When We Feel Young, and that has When We Feel Young, Ocean Tide, which is about a miscommunication in a relationship. Then there's I think it's about how we feel at that point of time.
And there are, it's not all happy songs either. Like there's Break Free, which is more about
losing
like
somebody.
Yeah, and Remember talks about death. But I guess it's the more happier songs that people have related to more because we've sort of from the first EP we've gotten tagged as a happy band.
Yeah, that's something that people don't know. But Hearts Never Break in the new EP is about like crying all the time. And people have not heard the song probably. That's why they don't really connect us to like emotional band than just being a positive band. But coming back to my partner in crime and my wife, yes, that song, I still remember sending it to Achyuth. I wrote the song, I sent it to Achyuth and Pally. They were like, we don't need to do anything to this song. This is already a song which can just be it's just there.
Yeah, because he was underplaying that song at that time. Because we always have these songs that like it's a thing with songwriters. They always have another song somewhere in a voice recording beyond what is already there. Yeah. So then we were actually, how this song came about was when we were we were working with Kerala Tourism, the government of Kerala, for a project which they wanted to indirectly promote the tourism in the state, and they wanted us to compose a song for it. And
we actually wrote a song.
We wrote a different song. It just wasn't coming together. And then he has this voice recording, which, in one voice recording, you are sort of hooked to it. You're sort of, everything fell into place without us having to do anything. It was just there. And the song, look, there are songs like that which get done in like 2-3 days.
Yeah, it got done. The song was done in a day. And we just needed like 2-3 extra.
Whereas some songs we struggle to finish for like months. Some we don't finish at all.
Thanks to Malu. But now she'll ask for royalties. But yeah, now, that's the first thing. Is like, I know I'm your muse. I don't want any muse credits. Just give me your royalties. I'm like, okay.
That is a mood and a half. It's like, I don't want any of the credit. Just give me the money.
Now, also, she's like, now you've sold it to Kerala Tourism. That's not my song anymore. So but she used to work with us, and initially, she started as the art director for the band, and that's how we got to know each other. But then she's an architect, and probably a lot of songs. Sushi is another song that I've written.
I love that video.
Oh, that's a
Your
great
music
video.
video is
Yeah.
great.
So she's another song that I've written because of her, because she loves Japan and I want to take her to Japan and all of that. So yeah, I think it's about coming back to music creation. I think it's about what we feel at that point of time, and we want to write about that and as honest as possible. And that's how the songs are made, literally. Yeah.
Yes, you have been tagged as a happy band.
Yes.
You are a happy band in so many senses. Like even watching you live is a happy experience. But before we started recording, we were talking about how the narrative is shifting in pop culture about just joy and happiness, and how, you know, it's more about now the complexity of emotion and really sitting in your feels when you're not feeling very good. Does that change the way that you, I guess, approach the narrative around your own band? Have you ever been, I don't know, like called out for being too happy?
Many people probably don't like us because we're too happy, I feel. A lot of people don't relate to our music also. I mean, there was this boy that I met in Manchester who came down to me and said, I talked to my friends, told them to come to the concert, but they're too happy. And I told them, why are you not coming to the concert? And then he played Firefly. Oh, I've heard the song. Is this who they are? And all of that. So, yeah. So, yeah, I think some people just don't relate to too much happiness. But like we said, we're not writing about happiness all the time.
No.
We have different moods as well. As humans, definitely. I mean, we've gone through phases in life. We've gone through different therapists in life. We've gone through like, you know, things that happen to us as well. So we write about the emotions that we go through at that point of time. Sometimes it's happiness. Sometimes it's sometimes it just takes away everything. The happiness is just dragged out of us, and we're just completely sad. And that's probably Remember, Hearts Never Break, bunch of other songs like Who Are You, Believe, things like it's positive. It's not happiness, let's say. But I mean, we don't know if we'll drive away from it. But when all four of us are together, it's a more fun environment. I think probably that's the reason why our live shows are very adrenaline rushed more than happiness. We thrive playing to audiences, and we thrive not making them happy, but just groove with us and, you know, sing with us and just having a good time altogether. And the experience, like I said, like obviously we love Coldplay, and we see those experiences, and we want people to be immersed in the experience as well.
Yeah.
Of seeing us live. And that's probably the reason that people think that we're happy, positive, like fully exuding happiness.
But there's also a certain element of being tagged by a certain thing from your first release, because that's probably what people first associate you with, and then that's hard to break out of. I think that's the same in any field. Like, if you are known for something, you know, a certain kind of music, then people expect more of the same from you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's the same with our genre, right? I mean, we're called folk band, but we
Indie folk.
Indie folk.
Indie folk, yeah.
The eye roll. Why the eye roll?
It's me making doshas. So, yeah. No, it's just even now when we tell people we're a pop band, like let's keep it pop so that we can do anything that we want in terms of genres. We don't want to specify ourselves into a single genre, so that we can use any kind of instrument that we want. We can use any kind of synth or like, you know, stuff that we want to add on to the music that we
That
want
can
to.
still be indie. I mean, I have a different take on it.
Okay.
I feel like you disagree on this, guys.
Yeah, I
Talk it
don't
out.
mind being called indie, because indie ultimately is independent, and most of what we have achieved is by being independent, DIY, sort of hustling, doing things ourselves. So, I mean, I guess indie has a very loose meaning. It's sort of indie can also be independent, but people associate indie with a certain genre of music, which is like indie rock or indie pop. So I think what he's not too comfortable with is the genre and not the independentness.
Or even the perception of the genre.
Yeah.
9 years together. Yeah. Indie in, like, let's say a UK indie scene, the indie bands are literally indie because that's the genre. They are punk indie. There's probably, what do you call it? What is it other? There's trap, indie hip hop, indie everything. So it's not just independent, but at the same time they have a certain kind of sound that they drive through. So I think that's what I'm not comfortable, because we're not that, and we're not folk as well. We just use folk instruments, but in a completely different way, or a sound that we derive from. Because Achyuth doesn't play banjo like a banjo player plays banjo. He plays banjo like it's a guitar. So there's a difference in that. So like when you tag something, I'm not comfortable just people tagging us that. That's about it. So I just honestly tell it out to them.
Good for you though for calling it out. I want to move to group dynamics because I just saw a bit of it. And you guys said to me that you're actually quite different as people. How does that work? Like who's like the grumpy one that everyone's scared of, and who's like the fun one? Go on, spill it.
Bye probably the
Called you out
grumpy
here.
Because they're not here, bless them.
Yeah,
Can't
no, I
defend
mean, even
themselves.
if he was here, I would have definitely called him out being grumpy, because he loves to stay awake till like 2-3 in the morning. And if we have a gig the next day, 7 a.m., he wakes up, comes out, and he's the most grumpiest person you can talk to. And he knows that as well now. Like, it's come to a point where he knows it. I'm like, are you okay? Ah, yeah, I am. He walks away. So, like, if he doesn't get enough sleep, you don't go near Sailesh. And the best person who knows about it is Pally, because Pally and Pai has this like bond that they and Pally be like, no, don't worry, just ignore him. Just and Pally is the most, I think, the patient
yeah.
out of the lot. Are you the patient out of the lot?
I mean, Pally has different sides to him. Sometimes he can be like extremely, irresponsible, but like fun about it. But he can also be the most sweetest, and most caring, I would say. He's always there, no matter what.
Yeah, that's there.
Yeah. And I think he would be the more, goofy, more extroverted.
AF.
Yeah. To a point where you have to ask him to shut up.
Shut up. Yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a different, like, what people see is not what AJ is.
Oh God, what is it?
Ooh, I get to say this on. Okay, let's go. Okay, so what people see Achyuth is this cute little boy who talks, but he is, I think, more than Pally, I think you're the more irresponsible when it comes to handling stuff. Yeah, like for instance, Achyuth would just fall from there, like while standing.
That's not irresponsible.
Not irresponsible,
That's
but you
more-
lose stuff as well.
Just clumsy.
Yeah, it's clumsy.
You lose stuff
Yeah.
as well. That's not clumsy.
That's just being absent-minded
Oh.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, so you
I mean,
can,
I
you can talk
accept
about
that.
yourself then. Easier. No, absent-minded, but at the same time, he's the one who follows timelines. He's the one who makes everybody work. Like, he's like the class
A grade student. The A grade student.
Oh,
A grade
like the
student.
front.
No,
what do
he's-
they call it? Front bench.
Yeah, the front benchers would be like, teacher, there's homework today. They have not written it. I've written it. That's him. That's him. Like, but at the same time, because of him, work goes on like really smooth. Even let it be if Kishan forgets something, if I forget something, or Pai forgets something, or Paddy also forgets something, he is the first person to come and say, we have to finish this. This is the timeline. This is what we have to do. This is something that we need to get done.
It's more organized,
Yeah.
focused, I guess, to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you always been that way, or have you had to become that way?
I mean, it's part of my character.
I think he's always,
Yeah.
he's always been that
Yeah.
way. He's always been that way.
Yeah. I'm always like, okay, what's the next thing to do?
I think that comes from his dad. Yeah.
Yeah, my parents.
Yeah,
probably,
it's right. His dad wakes up at 4 a.m., like
Yeah.
starts working at 4 a.m., finishes off his work, and so that he can go tell everybody to finish everything. In. Yeah, I think that's him also. He also wakes up at like 5:30, 6 and finishes everything and then comes back to us. That's the time, probably like afternoon is when Pai is waking up.
yeah.
You've had your whole day by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to basically drag Pally out of the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's all 4 different characters. Pai is very nerdy.
He loves his science, his space, his games.
His games, gamer, very nerdy. He's the Sheldon Cooper of When Chai Met Toast. Pally is...
He loves, when we had a month in London, and Pai loves to keep things clean, and it bothers him if anything is out of place. So during that month, we divided responsibilities, and he was the chef. He cooks really well, and Pai made sure that the kitchen was spick and span, like through the whole month.
So-
it was a joy to wake up in the morning.
It was a joy to wake up in the morning, but he would wake up at 3 a.m. and go wash the kitchen again. Like, he would just sleep at 12, wake up at 3. 12, he would have already cleaned the kitchen, done a dishwashing setup, done his laundry as well, wake up again at 3, go clean it again, then comes back and sleeps. And then there's Pally, who's I feel
Least
is a little-
bothered.
least bothered.
Least bothered about anything.
Anything.
Pally,
Because you're carrying all the weight. Like, he doesn't need to do
Pally,
anything.
he wouldn't know where the next show is. So people would.
It's like me. It was like, where did you perform yesterday? Even though I kind of knew.
No,
Yeah.
I was like, where did you, right? So this is like, where are you going to perform?
What country?
What country? Or where are you going? Or what time do you have to go? None. Like, people have to put it in the group. He wouldn't still reply to it.
Yeah.
You have to call him up and tell him, Pally, do you know where we are going tomorrow? Illa, tell me. We'll tell him. But at the same time, if there's anybody who can sit in a studio probably 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours continuously to finish music, that's Pally.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something that I would give it up, because he's one professional being when it comes to sound, music, and getting things done in terms of production.
Yeah, and he still finds time. So he has a family, he has a
Yeah.
little one now, and he still manages, to do everything. So,
Yeah. And then there's Kishan,
What do we say about Kishan?
babysitter. Yeah, truly. Like, managing all 4 different characters. And like, there are times where he'd probably tell him, Mommy, I don't want to be part of this band. I just want to go. I just want to leave. Like, I can't handle me. Like, he would tell him he
But
can't
then-
handle
but
me.
then
Then he would
it's-
just come and tell me that he can't handle him. So there's that all. So we all, and at this
But then,
point,
it's a group arranged
yeah,
marriage
it's a group arranged marriage.
that is forced.
That is forced by ourselves onto ourselves. But like now, when I left, I still remember Malu was telling our friend Meera about this. Like, this is my wife. Like, Achyuth is my wife. Kishan's my affair. And Malu's still just the girlfriend who's just like, okay, that's the like,
But also the muse.
yeah,
Let's not forget.
also the music. But yeah, it's we're so used to each other now
Yeah.
that the initial 5 years was like a bomb. Like, so many fights, so many things going on, people not realizing each other's characters. Now it's just like, I know, bye.
Yeah, that's just him.
That's
Yeah.
just him. That's just him. It's come to that.
Yeah. I read that you guys sort of like disbanded for a bit and then you came back. Was there ever like a fear that you would stop?
No, so what happened was, this was 2015 when we had released like one song through a TV show in Kerala. And I had gotten into Raghu Dikshit's band. I was, that was when I was 18 and I was like touring with him. And he had gone to the States to study.
Circumstantial disbanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
circumstantial. But then that was just for like 6-7 months. When he was in the States, and then we would still keep in communication. Like, I think we did exchange messages, and we still had conversations back then about coming back to India and starting this band, and trying to like.
That's also because we didn't know what our song is going to do. We released a song, and that's when I left. And in the 6 to 7 month span of time, the song actually became a pretty decent hit in India. So that's when we kept on conversation, like, should I come back? We just carry on with the band and see how it goes. And finally took that leap of faith and just came back and just started it off again.
But other than that, like from 2016, it's just been like we've been on it
Yeah.
every year.
Full on. Yeah. Is there ever like a discussion around like where is this going? Like, where are you planning to be in the next 10 years? I mean, you guys like are starting to get married and have families and stuff like that. So how does that change the dynamic?
I think all 3 of us love marriage. And all 3 of our partners have known us being part of the band. And they all know how our travel schedules are. They all know how we, how our schedules run. So I think that doesn't change the dynamic of how the band runs. But I don't know when he's getting married though. Yeah. But I don't think that'll change the dynamics at all. But definitely we would love to take like a 6-month break,
Yeah.
because we've been doing this for like 9 years continuously,
Non-stop.
non-stop. I mean, we've been touring non-stop. Occasion hasn't given us break.
I mean, we do get out.
Yeah,
that's
I
what
mean,
you're saying.
no.
COVID was a break.
Oh yeah.
We still
Yeah.
played.
I mean, we had
We're the
6
only band
months.
probably who would have still played through that COVID. The
I mean,
amount of times we did a tour. In
He needs a
between COVID.
break. He needs a
Are you
break.
burnt out? Do you need a minute? He's like just realized like I'm not stopped.
Yeah, we've like, during COVID, I still remember times where we did our tour during COVID. We had our masks on and we traveled in the same flights. And in between that, Pai and Pally got COVID as well. And we still did our shows without Pai in the picture. Didn't we?
Bro, who
We
was coming in the
did.
middle of COVID to your concerts?
People did come.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
socially distanced? or?
Not during the peak
COVID?
lockdowns. It was when things were easing up.
Around those years.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not just talking about gigs. We were working through COVID.
Yeah, but I don't
Yeah,
know
but
what
that
do you.
worked for us. That
I
completely
just
helped
like
us.
I'm not burnt out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had breaks.
I think we get enough breaks. I mean, we don't do a 9 to 5.
No, it's also
Yeah.
because I come from Trivandrum and all these people are in Kochi and I keep traveling left and right from
Okay,
Trivandrum
now
to
it turns
Kochi.
into a.
Toronto versus Kochi all over again.
So I don't think we need a break, but he's going to study. He's planning to study a bit.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
yeah, we might as well take a break, but no change in dynamics. We
But
still
in
have.
terms of next 5 to 10 years, I think immediately the goal is just getting to more people. We've never. I think that's something that we also need to like go back and sit down and, okay, we've achieved this much. What's the next step? How can we get there?
Yeah.
So it's some internal reflection, to also happen.
Drive down a strategy because we've never
Yeah.
written down a strategy in terms of how we should go about the year. It was always what comes to us and what we're doing and
Yeah.
short term comings, like short things that just happening and it's that 3 months and we're doing things quickly.
Yeah, like we've never thought of, okay, 5 years, this is what we should do because it's just been one opportunity.
Or
It's going
even
to,
1 year.
yeah. So maybe it's better for us that way, but I don't know.
You've kind of almost shown that it sort of works though. Like if you just kind of trust the process a bit, and obviously you've got the product. Like you've got music that works, that reaches people, and they want to listen to it and they want more.
Yeah.
So now it's just a case of like
And it's
managing the growth.
yeah, I think it's all sorry to cut
Yeah.
you off. It's also dependent on how people perceive our music that year, or
True.
a lot of it is determined by that also, and
Yeah.
what territories that we want to target and all that.
Also, it depends on the people in the band if they want to work that much or not as well. I mean, all 4 of us, even though we talk about taking a break, all 4 of us are kind of anxious in terms of what will happen in the next 2 months or 3 months, and then probably go back and write music. I mean, even if we say all of this, we'll just go back and be like, okay, we need to start writing music, we need to release more music, we need to get this things done, we need to do
Yeah.
the tour, we need to do this. So I think a strategy would definitely help in terms of putting everything together. But we will definitely have that time where we will do smaller things to get things done as well.
Is there a fear of ever becoming irrelevant as an artist?
Yeah, of course.
Does that drive you?
Yeah, 101%. Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I was in the train back and I had 2.5 hours. I had nothing to do.
That's when he panics.
He's like existential crisis.
I
as
do.
well.
You panic otherwise. I also
Yeah.
panic otherwise. So it's a mix. There are times where he panics and he starts writing to me, and I'm consoling, and then he's like, "Why are you panicking?" I'm yeah, because obviously there are times when you think about, like I said, I see a video and then you see that this artist is suddenly playing Coachella, and then what are we doing? We've done this for 9 years. What are we trying to do? But not saying we're not happy. We love what we do, and we are very happy with what we see in terms of audiences and how people turn up for our gigs. We love the music we make, and we don't want to force ourselves into making music just because we want to be viral. But there is definitely that thought on the back of your head that what if you're a relevant one of the you don't know. But
Because it is a changing industry. You
Yeah.
can't force people into music that they should like, because in the 90s it was pop music, then it went on to electronic music, little bit of folk, and then now it's all, hip hop is what's driving, the most numbers.
Yeah.
So it's faces, I guess, of what's more relevant in the market.
I also feel that's one thing that drives me to do what it feels is I also feel if you have a sound that nobody else can create, then you could be relevant all throughout the years. Like for instance, Beatles is one of that. Coldplay is one of that.
MJ
is one of that. So if you have a sound for yourself, I feel you are going to be relevant for a very, very long time. And I think that's what we aim to do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that sentiment because I think it goes beyond music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it applies to anything. If you find what it is that you are most passionate about and you kind of tune into who you are in that moment of time, like you will evolve as a person, as a creative.
Exactly.
Keep listening to that voice. And like to the point of, Coachella and like other artists, like I sometimes think about, other podcasts are doing this and like I should, but honestly, the wildest thing is that it's my own audience, it's my own friends, it's my own family that remind me of who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's so, like, I feel very lucky that I have that in my life. And I don't know if you guys have that voice, but like that keeps reminding you, like, no, but this is why you started this. This is who you are. But it's very important to remind yourself.
One of those little things.
Love that. No, it is. I think about that all the time because I think we're in a world where you're forced to compare yourself. Like that's literally like those platforms on which we consume our content are designed for us to feel a certain way about like feeling not enough, right? And the worst part is that is also where we get our research. Yeah. We look at other artists or other creators and we're like, oh, I need to be with it and know what other people are doing. But it is a balance, isn't it? It's a hard balance to strike, but I feel like you're there.
You get there. I mean, it's once you find your sound, there's nothing stopping you is what I feel.
Yeah.
You just have to, I mean, there'll be times where you'll think too much. There'll be times where you look at other people and be like, oh, I want to be like them. Or why am I not like them?
Or I want what they have.
I want what they have. Yeah, that as well.
Yeah.
But I think when you have your own sound, there's this distinction to you that just says that you, like nobody can create what you are doing. So just be that. That I say that all the time. Yeah.
Just breaking all the equipment.
I say that all the time. I mean, because that's the reason why I feel a lot of people come back to our gigs. There are so like Manchester, the sold out gig, we had at least 20% people who had attended the London gig who had come down to Manchester.
Second time.
Wow. Not even second time. There were times where people have come who had come for the last London show, who had come for the Birmingham show, who had come for this London show and come for the Manchester one.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, because I think people only get that kind of feeling when they come to our gig.
Well, I must say I have a story to share because, Achyuth, I don't know if you realize what was happening in the London concert, but I was basically standing next to this couple. And there was this woman and she was filming you guys, but she kept zooming into you. And zooming, like fully zooming. And then her partner would just like zoom back out. And she'd zoom back in. And they just had this like, I think they were about to break up that night. No, they weren't. They were just like, I don't know how serious it was. But I was like,
wow.
I love that I can tell you that.
Dude.
Because I was just standing there like a fly on the wall, like.
That happened. So this friend of mine, Meera's friend Tanvi, and her husband Vishnu, they had come in like day before yesterday to their place. So Meera was telling me, Meera told her Ashwin had come and Malu had come and yeah. Oh, Achyuth didn't make it? It's like oh, why? No, have you told him about me? Oh. Why? She was like, why would I tell him about you? Your husband is right there. Like, please go for it. Like, yeah, it's
I'm not trying to break up any relationships here.
If this couple hears this podcast, I just love the fact that I was able to tell that story. I wonder what you see yourselves doing in the next 10 years. So it'll be what, 2034?
dead.
No.
Why
you have come with some interesting energy today.
People should realize I'm not a very happy person. No, but yeah, it's...
Wow.
That's just like...
That was the worst response I could have given.
Oh my god! What would yours be?
That's not my response, babe.
I don't know.
We need to come back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, we do talk about this amongst ourselves, so maybe we won't be like selling out stadiums, but hopefully, like say a Royal Albert Hall in 10 years would be.
10 years.
10 years.
Bro, less.
That's it.
Huh?
That's it.
That's it. You want more?
I want a stadium, dude.
You want a stadium
Yeah,
in 10 years?
101%.
I was going to say, Royal Albert Hall you can do.
Yeah.
Couple
Yeah,
years.
I don't know.
Royal Albert in 2 years, let's say. Go for
2
it.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it. Coachella.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to sell out 7 days consecutively at the Wembley, if possible, in 10 years.
Bro, not many people who can do that. And
Yeah,
we're all thinking of
That's
the
exactly
same.
that's
Yeah.
exactly the point, right? I mean, like if I'm dreaming, I'm going to dream higher. That's something that I want to do, because like every time if I dream small, I feel like I would only reach like
A fraction of that.
fraction of that. So I want to dream big, where I want to make sure, and I want to make the world a happy place with my music. So that's something that I know that we can pull off as well as a band. Believing in us, all four of us, with all of these years of making music and playing music live. Initially, it was always like, I'll tell you a small little story behind that, because initially we always called ourselves a supporting act, an opening act for a festival, and we're a good sundowner act. We've come to a place where we know that we can headline a show.
You absolutely can.
Yeah. So now it's come to the point where I know that, okay, can I take that step bigger to like do a Royal Albert Hall, let's say, or play a Coachella pre-headliner, or let's say fill out a 10,000 cap O2, like that. And then possibly thinking about stadium doesn't make sense for me. I just want to see, if you're a headliner, can we do that? And probably start doing everything on the way to do it.
I mean, he's talking more from the numbers and the
Not from the
scale
numbers.
perspective. But I mean, for me, it's also about like creating, like being creatively happy these 10 years and, you know, making really good music, which is the other side of things where, okay, maybe we aren't gonna, I don't know, like,
Pessimistic?
no, I mean, I would love to play 7 years of Wembley, but then that only comes through 7 days.
That's too much. Like that's, but
This is why we don't let him dream too big.
no, I'm saying 10 years is a very long time. That's why I said dead in the first place.
Oh God.
No, I'm
This is so chaotic.
no, 7 years.
10 years.
10 years is a pretty long time.
Actually,
Yeah.
10 years is a very long time. It's actually it's a hard question to answer, I find, because you just don't know, right? 10
Yeah.
years. You don't know where the world will be, like what music
Yeah.
they'll like.
That's probably why I said dead. I mean, again, coming back to that, like it's also lifestyle, right? I mean, we've been, like I said, touring consecutively over the years, and touring in India hasn't been the prettiest for us. Like when we started off the band, like the first 5 years, we had to struggle to get to wherever place we are. If going from Kochi to Northeast is the hardest task for us, we've driven like 28 hours consecutively, 14 hours do the gig, 14 hours get back, sitting, sleeping, doing things like that. So that's why I said I didn't mean it in any other way. But in the next 10 years for me, personally, for the band, I badly want to sell out at least like one day in Wembley. Like one final day in Wembley, let's say. But
I don't think it's far from reach, honestly. Like the way that listeners are evolving, the world is just so much more globalized in that sense. Like you have access to all genres of music on Spotify. You're all, you know, getting way more listens now than you ever would, just because of the way that the platforms are built. And you don't know when something is going to hit, and you know, you're going to be accessing like a whole market in China who'll be listening to your music. Like you just won't know when it could happen. And it's just, I guess it's just opening yourselves up, right, to that possibility.
I
if
completely
ever.
agree to that. Sorry to cut you off. I completely agree to that, because when we released Joy of Little Things as an EP in 2016, nobody wanted to listen to Joy. And if you take Instagram now and check out the amount of reels that's been used for Joy of Little Things, that's almost 900k reels. We never expected that probably in 2020 that Joy would become a hit.
Yeah.
We're now going to think about it, but definitely it just takes one song. to
It takes a second,
Yeah.
a moment, like waking up one morning and something's happened and you're like, what?
yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that's what we keep doing it for, just like the magic.
Did
that
you
can
read
happen.
about the brand from Jaipur, who like apparel brand from Jaipur which Justin Bieber wore?
No, I didn't hear about it.
Like they were about to close 2 days ago,
Yeah.
and they got a call from Justin Bieber's designer saying just send across the stuff,
Okay.
and they sent across the stuff, and like all of these designer basically get all the brands in, and then just see according to what they want to shoot, they will shoot, and apparently they used their brand to shoot with Justin Bieber, and the next day he's a sensation. So yeah, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, there's that, and then there's what you said, Achyuth, which is doing things where you are creatively happy, right? Because we get one life, and we wanna be happy
because I
doing
mean,
the work.
more than like the sea of people that you perform to, ultimately it's about like being creatively satisfied with what you do as well. So there's that side of things where, you know, when you really feel strongly about a song or how much it impacts people. For me, I mean, our USP has always been growing by small leaps and bounds. So I don't know if we'll be that overnight sensation. But so for me, a Royal Albert Hall seems like a more
achievable.
and something, and something that we should work towards. But I don't know. I mean, it's different personalities.
My only thing is I don't want to like creatively not go through the path of just making a song for becoming viral.
Yeah.
I'm talking about our music that, like I said, the sound that we create or the sound that we can only create being part of the entire world. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
There's definitely a market for it, and you guys are creating amazing music, and the quality is just there. Like it's just, you can see that you're doing it out of your hearts and the little fights that you're having internally. I have one last question. I wish I could stay longer, but my last question, which I ask all my guests, and maybe we'll start with you, Achyuth, is what do you have strong game in?
I think I have strong game in like driving myself to do things and like making things happen, you know. When I really want something, I really go behind it, and it's, you know, it becomes the...
I think all passionate people do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
all of us, no?
That's all of us, yeah.
Oh, what do you have?
What do I have?
Just invalidated his strong game.
No, I mean, that's the band completely, I feel. Even Kishan is same. If he wants to achieve something, he would definitely get the same with me. And that's definitely the band's strong game. Put it that way, I feel.
Maybe I have it slightly more than you.
Oh, oh shit.
Okay, do you want to see each other's strong game?
Yeah, I love
yeah.
that. Okay,
That'd
that's
be cool.
a good idea.
Yeah. We can do that.
If we can pull out weaknesses, we can definitely pull out strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think his strong game is not achieving it. I would say practice makes a man perfect. And that's him. Like, I'd relate him more to a Ronaldo than a Messi, if you get what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
I get
it's
that.
hard work and practice that's made Achyuth the guitarist that he is today. And I don't think a lot of people can do that. A lot of people might lose interest probably in 2 years, 2.5 years to get that thing done. But he keeps, like, when you're a musician, you don't end it somewhere. Like, you keep on practicing. And that's something that a lot of people don't do, like, including myself, let's say. But he's one person I've seen who has the ability to push himself to keep practicing every day, every single day, pushing himself out there to become a better person, better guitarist every single day, or a better musician every single day, or a better, let's say, singer-songwriter every other day, or whatever he's trying to do. Let's say if he's trying to write GMAT, it's the same thing. He wants to better himself in the score. So that's something that I really, really, really like and admire about him.
I think about Ashwin, it's his, you know, dual. I mean, two things. One, he has the wackiest ideas. Sometimes, you know, things that none of us think of it can only come from him. And I feel a lot of our songs have stemmed because he thinks in a way that is, unlike anyone else in the world. And he has this ability to put things that are, so universal, but in ways that are so simple, which makes it extremely relatable. So that's one big, strong game. And obviously, like every time we have an international tour, he cooks for us. So he makes sure we're,
I would call that
well
my strong
fed.
game, definitely.
And like he's the best at
Cooking.
amongst the 5 of us, at least.
No, Kishan
But
can cook too.
yeah, Kishan, but not as good as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to eat that he makes?
Oh, he has this chicken curry he makes with ketchup added.
Ketchup.
Yeah.
To be fair, ketchup does enhance
Yeah, a little bit, not
a
too
dish.
much.
Yeah. Nice.
No,
That's his favorite thing because
that's
he
my
likes a little bit of sweetness.
Yeah, I love like sweet and spicy. That's my go-to.
That sounds like your personality as well.
Yeah.
Nice. What about you? What's your favorite thing to cook?
Like I like cooking for people generally. Like everybody. Like today also I cooked because I'm staying at a friend's place. I cooked lunch for them when I came out. So yeah, I especially like cooking Kerala food because that's where I'm from. I'd like people to taste what it is, and culturally let people know what that food is, because a lot of these restaurants here don't really like serve proper Indian food to people. So I cook for them and make them feel at home. So yeah, that's something I like to do.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been so much fun. I feel like I've just watched you guys bicker half the time, which has been a lot of fun. And I wish you all the best for your future tour performances you're going to do in all the different cities you're going to go to. And I can't wait to watch more, actually. Now I'm going to be like, from the audience, now I know better. Yeah.
It's like, oh, they've made a mistake.
Yeah.
There. Now he's laughing.
No,
he's laughing a little extra.
Not at all. Wishing you all the success, guys, and keep spreading all of the emotions that you spread through your music.
Thank you.
Thank
Same
you
to you as well.
No, it's been a lovely podcast.
Yeah.
Like we've enjoyed it.
See, we've been to interviews and we've always like talk about like it's the same kind of questions coming back as well. It's the same kind of things. And we also that's why we like
shy away from
interviews,
really,
and or even podcast requests that's come our way. But this has been very interesting, and it's something that I would also recommend to people to come and do it if they're here, or just talk with you and see how that pans out. Definitely, this is great. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
It means a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Brown Game Strong. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to stick around, then please do hit the subscribe button if you're listening on YouTube. And do give the social links a follow as well. We're on Instagram and on TikTok. If you have any thoughts, feedback, advice, any potential guests that you'd like to hear me speak to, then please do drop a note on either the socials or on browngamestrong@gmail.com. Thank you once again for listening, and really appreciate your support.